I'm going to give you 5 ways things can go wrong with buying an investment property in Detroit. We'll start right off the bat with number 1. Whose Kool-Aid are you drinking? So since I'm making this video, I'll tell you what my Kool-Aid is. So it's full transparency where this video is coming from. I'm Monique Burns. My husband and I started investing in our own Detroit rentals in 2007. From 2015 to 2020, we had our own property management business. We sold that. Now we flip houses right now to cash investors. And I'm a broker. I have an agent. But recently, I wrote a course on how to do all this stuff that we do in Detroit. Mostly it's once you've bought the property, what to do once you bought the property. And it's all the stuff that we would have saved so much what I call tuition on had I known these things well before, we started learning on our own out there. So that's the Kool-Aid you're drinking from. But, so you'd think, okay, I'm just trying to sell you houses in Detroit, which but actually at the moment I'm making this video, I have far more cash buyers than I have properties to sell. We're only selling like 1 to 2 houses a month anyway. So I'm really going to lay it out there and give you these 5 things. So let's get into it. So number 2, the neighborhood. This is something you think you can do on the internet, and you cannot. This is a complete feel thing, and I am telling you that as an outsider. So I did not grow up in Detroit. My husband did, and we got married almost 30 years ago. Next month it'll be 30 years. So I'm a small town girl. I don't see what he sees. He can talk to me until he's blue in the face. Don't you see it about this neighborhood? And I'm like, no, I don't see it. You cannot look on the internet and pick the right area. You cannot go by zip code. You cannot go by neighborhood. If you're talking rentals, if you're talking more, upscale houses, that's different. You kind of can tell by a neighborhood. My husband, having grown up in Detroit, he goes to Detroit. He sees things. I knew somebody was going to mow their lawn. I hope you can still hear me. I just gave away I'm a small town girl. In a small town, we mow the lawn. I grew up mowing the lawn on a riding mower. In the city, they cut the grass. He sees things that I don't see. And I told you I'm a broker. I have an agent, and I specifically, since I focus on Detroit, picked an agent from Detroit, and he also sees things that I'm not capable of. Hey, if you're enjoying this information, it's incredibly helpful to me if you like and subscribe. It really boosts my spirits and makes me want to keep making more videos for you. So number 3, the renovation. This is where it can go probably the hugest wrong, is if you're like, oh, I can buy a cheap house in Detroit. We recommend that you buy a house completed. Of course, we're selling them completed. But if you're not going to buy a house completed in Detroit, you have to get a crew to renovate it for you. And it's highly recommended that when you're out there trying to put together someone to do this, that you get 2 estimates. You will be shocked at the price difference between one crew to the next crew. A lot of people think that we have a construction company for hire. We don't. We buy the houses ourselves, renovated them ourselves. We make our money flipping the houses. So that's something you definitely want to do. Oh, and also with the renovation, don't skimp on getting a project manager. If you're out of state, and a lot of people do this out of state and they do very well, trust your property manager, let them manage, let them be your eyes that are physically there. Don't do that stuff yourself. Number 4, the property management. One thing I've noticed, like the fanciest websites do not make for the best property managers. And another thing I've noticed with owners is they don't really know how to check out a property management company. I think the most important thing is how they handle a turnover. So if you're checking out a property management company, you're going to want to ask them to talk to somebody who has handled one of their turnovers. So for us that I don't manage anymore, I ran out of property managers to refer people to, and it hurt my selling business there for a while. So someone local bought my course, who's a young businessman, and he's starting his own property management company, and he is phenomenal. And he actually is using our crew to handle the turnovers. Number 5, the tenant placement. So if you get a bad tenant, you are done for. And that's something that, so now if you were to buy a house from us, Andrew, who does the property management now, he finds the tenants because he took my course. If you want to know the things that he's looking for, I do have a freebie for you. It's my tenant placement list of questions. The thing is, you can't give this to a VA. And I think that's where a lot of property managers are going wrong, is they are like saving money on this step, because I truly feel it's an art form. In Detroit, maybe it is everywhere, but it's an art form of answering the phone and talking with people. And I work a lot with Section 8 tenants. And so when I was doing the tenant placement before I got Andrew to do it, I was spending a lot of time on the phone, reading between the lines, getting to know their personality, because there's so much stuff that doesn't come up, like especially with Section 8, like a credit report. My daughter lives in California and she's moving to a new place, and she just finished grad school, so she doesn't have her permanent job yet. And so they use me to apply for her for the house. And I was kind of excited about it, you know, like, oh, this will be good. I get to hear how somebody else talks to me. There was no talking to me. All they did was run my credit report, and they never asked me my assets. I'm like, that's the best part. I've got these investment properties. But I thought that was interesting. Maybe there's more that they did like directly with my daughter or something. But in Detroit, you need to have the conversations, and you need to be able to pick up on what the tenant is putting down. It's more than just, it's definitely not the credit report when you're dealing with Section 8. There's a whole lot more to it. So that's the part, if I were not in Detroit, and if you're not working with me and my crew, my team of people, I would want to know, what do they do for the credit? How do they handle, oh, thank goodness they stopped. How do they handle the tenant placement, and find out if they're actually having a conversation, and if it's somebody that's able to comprehend what they're actually saying, or are they just going through a checklist? Like, there is definitely a checklist, which is in my freebie there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.